I have to admit that my life is boring, but I don't mind it at all. Actually, I love my boring life and I think you shouldn't be afraid of it if you think the same. The world is right now hungry for excitement and everything is about to get distracted and don't feel boredom even for a second. But the truth is, embracing boredom is necessary if you want to live the life you wish for. Right now I would like to tell you my own story how I decided that I would like to live a boring life and why I think it is still serving my own self-development and also my goals. When I was a child, I clearly remember that I was afraid of being alone. I constantly looked for new friends in order to fill all the empty time periods of my days. I didn't want to spend even a single minute alone because I didn't want to think about things which I didn't like. The root cause of these kind of harmful thoughts was one simple thing. I wasn't able to cope with my own boredom and I thought if I can avoid it every single time, then it won't affect my life. But as I grew older, I had to realize that my childish mindset won't help me to find a solution for this problem. I went through a breakup, lost some of my friends, and other personal issues happened, which made me think that I should be alone for a bit and finally decide what I would like to do with my own life. Because at this point, it led to nowhere. If I remember well, there were so many distractions that I felt myself awful most of the time. So I ended up in a place what I was afraid of. I spent 2 years most of my time alone with very limited social activities. And right now I know it was one of the best decisions in my entire life. In this period I completely revalued my life, started to read many self-development books, finally began to practice on a musical instrument, and none of the last I visited the gym 5 times a week. I can say this period of my life looked totally boring for my friends and family members. They never understood why I don't hang out with them more often and why my life is only about working, staying at home and visiting the gym. However, they didn't see behind the scenes. Meanwhile, I started to feel myself better. I became emotionally mature thanks to the books I read. And I also started to reconsider my values and also set goals for myself. After 2 years being alone, I decided that I was ready to try out new things and finally make the first steps towards my goals. I hang out more often with my friends, found myself in a new relationship, and my career just kick-started. Everything seemed to be perfect, but deep inside my heart, I felt that all the excitements are distracting me. I slowly gave up on reading books. I still visited the gym, but I didn't pay attention to my progress. My side hustles grow further, but not the way as I imagined. It was the time to once again reconsider what I want. Looking for excitements all the time or finally pay attention once again to my goals and my values. Thanks to the time I spent alone in boredom, I felt that I developed some kind of self-consciousness which can help me out again. Slowly I started to eliminate all kinds of distractions from my life, which of course came with a price. I went through a breakup again, but this time it was my own decision. I lost a few of my friends who dragged me down. Nonetheless, I began to track my own goals again. Right now I can say that I think I made a couple of good decisions because at the moment I feel that everything turned out better. I found a new girlfriend who became my wife. My career reached new levels and also my side hustles just skyrocketed. It seemed that my boring lifestyle is paying off slowly. But at this time, I also had to make another important decision. Even though I achieved successes in my full-time job, my side hustle started to grow and I felt that my career became the distraction of my possible entrepreneurial life. The question was for me, am I ready to make the next step and be alone most of my workdays, or I want to keep doing what I do? At this point, I was extremely tired because I had limited time. And I wasn't able to pay attention fully to both of my goals. I felt that all kinds of meetings are unnecessary and time wasters. I started to feel that the tasks what people ask me to do are nonsense. Long story short, I finally made the decision that I want to quit my full-time job, and this is exactly what I did in 2021. That means that my life became the most boring ever because I became an online entrepreneur. I wake up every day at the same time. I do every day the same morning activities. Most of the time, I am sitting in front of my computer alone and managing my businesses. But guess what? I truly enjoy this life. First of all, I don't have to deal with all kind of distractions anymore, because I don't get deadlines from my managers for unnecessary tasks. I'm not sitting on meetings 2-3 hours a day, which provides zero value. Nonetheless, I'm not burned out and tired all the time. Instead, I can do whatever I want with my own boring life. I read a book every morning for half an hour. I'm learning German again with passion. I practice breathing meditation. And I feel that all of these activities are serving me better than spending my time with all kind of activities which are not necessary and important for me. And nonetheless, I have also realized that if I would like to grow further, I have to embrace boredom. I came to the conclusion that at some point everything became boring. But successful people around the world know exactly how they should treat this kind of boredom. They never give up because they don't enjoy something currently. So no matter what I do, sooner or later boredom will be part of my life again. So it is more reasonable to learn to cope with it and also embrace it. My conclusion is it's worth to live a boring life, but it only pays off if you don't waste your time with unnecessary activities. I set myself clear goals and I do everything I can every single day to get closer to them. In the last 1.5 years since I left my full-time job, it seemed to be a good strategy. But before I finish this video, and I also encourage you to live your own boring life, because it will serve you, I also have to admit one last thing. Coping with boredom is not the same like living your life in your comfort zone, and it took me a while to understand that. Certainly, I feel myself productive if I follow my own strict daily routines. But at the same time, it's important to keep in mind that I have to try out new things. Visiting new places, get new impulses. The fresh air is needed because it can help me to reinforce my belief that I am on the right path. And I want to feel that I am not living a boring life because it is an obligation, but rather that's my own choice. So from my perspective, the final message is that living a boring life always pays off, but only if you set goals for yourself and pick the right activities which will be aligned with them. However, you can't limit yourself fully and live in your own world. That's why sometimes you have to try out new things and also experience some fresh air. Find a healthy balance between the two sides and also make sure that in the end, everything will be part of your development and you will live the life what you always dreamed about.